Hi guys and welcome to another video. A few months ago, I made a video where I talked about the mistakes I made in Pokemon, and most of them happened when I was just getting into Pokemon. But it seems that I'm not the only one. Many of people have made plenty of mistakes when they were a kid or just getting into Pokemon. So today I will list the 10 of those that I think are the most common. Some of them I did myself and noticed many other people too, and some of them I didn't do, but I noticed a lot of people talk about doing. Number 1. Wasting the Master Ball on a common Pokemon. I've heard so many stories of people using their Master Ball on a random common wild Pokemon. I even heard stories about people using it on a Magikarp or a Pidgey. And most of the time that happens is because a lot of the new players don't know they can only get one Master Ball per game. And I guess they think they can get an unlimited supplies of Pokeballs that can catch any Pokemon first try. But I guess this is still technically better than not using a Master Ball at all, like I always do. Like I've played through many Pokemon games, but I've never once used my Master Ball. So I guess this is kind of a mistake on its own. Number 2. Using only their starter for the entire game. This mistake seems to be really common amongst children, who I assume at the beginning of the game think their starter is the coolest Pokemon, so they only use them for every single battle, which makes their starter Pokemon really overleveled, so they'll be able to beat the entire game using only their starter. And I still consider this to be a mistake, even if they manage to successfully beat the entire game, since this is definitely not the way the game was meant to be played. And I probably enjoy it a lot more if they actually had a full team. And it's also possible they'll encounter a really strong trainer who has a super effective team against their starter, and have no idea how to beat them. And I'm actually surprised how common this mistake is, since when I first started playing Pokemon, I just wanted to use as many different Pokemon as I possibly could. Number 3. Basing the team members' moveslots on HMs. This mistake doesn't really happen that often anymore, since it usually happened with small kids who just started playing Pokemon. And the last games that had HMs were Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. And even the kids who decide to go back and play through the older Pokemon games usually play through the newer ones first, and gain at least a basic understanding of how Pokemon games work. And I personally believe that it's a good thing that HMs were either removed or implemented differently, since most players would only teach the good HMs like Strength or Surf to their party members, and all of the other ones to HM slaves. And then every time they have to use a HM, they will have to go back to the Pokemon Center for their HM slave, which was really annoying. But a lot of the newer players didn't know you can delete HMs of your Pokemon until nearly the end of the game, so they end up with their starter Pokemon that knows Rock Smash or Cut. Number 4. Teaching their Pokemon all moves of the same type. This one also happens very commonly with children, who for example see Charizard and think, wow, that's a fire-breathing dragon, I should teach it a bunch of fire-type moves, without ever even considering actual type coverage. So they end up with a Charizard that knows Ember, Flamethrower, Fire Fang, and Fire Spin. But you can't really blame the kids either, especially if they watch the anime before playing the games, since the trainers in the anime also do this all the time. Number 5. Not knowing how to evolve their Pokemon. This happened much more often in the past, when people didn't have Google and couldn't just look up how to evolve any Pokemon. But it still happens a surprising amount, since I guess a lot of people just assume their Pokemon evolves by level up, like most Pokemon do, or don't want to be spoiled so they don't look it up and try to figure it out on their own. But they end up using a really weak first stage Pokemon for almost the entire game. And I know this happens a lot with Galarian Yamask in Sword and Shield, because in order to evolve it into a Runerigus, it has to take at least 49 damage and survive that, and then you have to take it under the Dusty Bowl in the wild area. And there's no way anybody could actually figure that out on their own. Number 6. Buying max repels. Most of the mistakes on this list are usually made by kids, or people who just started playing Pokemon. But this mistake is made both by beginners and people who've been playing Pokemon their entire lives. I'm sure most of you already know that the purpose of Repel is to stop Pokemon who are lower level than your lead Pokemon from appearing, and most people use it to get through caves, since there you can encounter a Pokemon at any step. There are 3 types of repels: Repel, Super Repel, and Max Repel. But you should definitely buy the Super Repel instead of the Max Repel, since it gives you a much better bug for your money. A Super Repel costs 500 Pokédollars and protects you for 200 steps, so that's 0.4 steps per Pokédollar. But a Max Repel costs 700 Pokédollars and protects you for only 250 steps, so that's only 0.357 steps per Pokédollar. Buying Max Repels only made sense in the older games, since back then, when a repel expires, you have to go into your bag and use another one. But since Black and White 2, when a repel expires, as long as you have some left in your bag, the game will just ask you whether you want to use another one. Number 7. Mispronouncing Pokemon names. We all do this with at least some Pokemon. I even did that in some of my videos. I mispronounced Rayquaza as Rayquaza and Arceus as Arceus. But to be fair, it used to be Arceus, but then they changed it because it sounded like a British swear word. And I'm sure I mispronounced many other Pokemon too, so I really can't judge anybody else for doing the same. But I still remember the time my friend pronounced Gyarados as Gyarados. Number 8. Not using non-damaging moves. When kids start playing Pokemon, they use Tackle and see it do damage to the opponent Pokemon, and then use Growl and see that it doesn't do damage. So they just assume that Growl is useless and Tackle is much better, so they just use damaging moves for the rest of the game. And I also did that when I started playing Pokemon. Not because I didn't know how useful non-damaging moves can be, but just because I thought the games were so easy even without them that it was just unnecessary to actually use them. It wasn't until I went back and played through Gen 4 and 5 games that I started using non-damaging moves, because I realized that those games were much harder and the only way I could beat them without grinding for dozens of hours is to actually develop good strategies for each battle. Number 9. Failing a shiny Pokemon. Failing a shiny Pokemon could happen to anybody, and in so many different ways. You could accidentally critical hit the shiny, or you could run out of Pokeballs, or the shiny Pokemon have a move that does recoil damage to itself, or self-destruct, or explosion, and knock itself out. But as you've probably seen in many shiny fail compilations, this can also happen to shiny hunters. Maybe they're not really paying attention to the game, so they accidentally restart it before they realize they've actually encountered a shiny. Or maybe the shiny Pokemon struggles itself to death. Or maybe they're shiny hunting in the Safari Zone, where each turn the Pokemon has a chance to flee. But the worst way you could possibly fail a shiny Pokemon is to do it on purpose. I've heard too many stories of people who didn't know what shiny Pokemon were. So when they encountered one, they thought it was a glitch in the game, and restarted the game, or just fated the shiny Pokemon. And I feel so sorry for those people, because they must have been so frustrated when they found out what shiny Pokemon are and how rare they are. Number 10. Getting hacked Pokemon. In the past, it wasn't uncommon for a kid to buy a Game Sharks or a Pika Hex and use it to hack in a few level 100 legendaries to beat all of their friends. But right now, it's much more common to get those obviously hacked, level 100 perfect stat, shiny legendaries or mythicals, through those giveaways on YouTube or Twitch. And even I got some of them a few years ago, but I only used them to complete the living decks, and later I went back and released all of them. But a lot of people get them and use them in competitive battling, which is definitely wrong. And I still consider this a mistake, even though the people who do it probably know what they're doing, because they obviously shouldn't be doing that. And that's the list. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, maybe consider liking it, or maybe clicking the bell button so you get notified when I upload a video. And also leave me a comment telling me, how many of these mistakes did you do? And did you do some other mistakes I didn't even list? I'd love to know. But that's all I have to say for now. So I hope I'll see you again, and goodbye.